What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to Small Biz. In today's video, I'm going to give you 7 penny stocks to buy right now, including the limits and technical analysis on each and every single one, including breaking news. Elon Musk loses his case with OpenAI that will affect one of the stocks that we currently own. Last trade on that, 76 and a quarter. But before I go any further, pinned in the top comment is your last chance. From now until May the 31st is your last chance to join the #1 stock trading Discord for $20 your first 2 months. Cancel anytime. Once we go to June 1st, the price of poker is going way up. Hundreds of dollars to get in the door at that point. We're done being the Walmart of trading Discords. I'm not trying to be all things to all people. One of the biggest mistakes that I made over the last 2.5 years of a 95% win rate and 21x returns is I lowered the barrier of entry to such a degree that it allowed hundreds of clowns, most of which came and went, to ruin my fucking day, drive up my blood pressure, and on more than one occasion, nearly give me a stroke. The same stroke that took my mother out in 2015, God rest her and my father's soul. There's one thing that I've learned, and there's probably several, as I round second base, head into third in this game we call life. You can't win them all. You can't please everyone. In fact, I could walk on water from the right side of the road to the left side of the road, and some of you'd be like, wow, did you see that? But there'd be a huge number of others. Well, why didn't you just turn around and go back to the other side? Or as I said in the Discord the other day, you know what? I could shit a ton of gold bricks. And some people would say, kind of impressive. But where's the silver? Right. $20, your last chance. You're going to pay more than 10 times that come June 1st. And if you think I'm fucking around, stick around. All right, let's go to the chart, shall we? 12-month on the Qs, last trade, 701.83 off the highs and lows of 699 and change as I was sitting here. And yes, I'm going to take you inside the Discord, show you all the buy zone limits on the 7 penny stocks I recommend. If you're new, please smash that subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified. I normally come out with videos like this every Monday to Thursday, at least once or twice, around 3 p.m. East Coast time. And if you're making money, hand over fist, make sure to tell everyone below. I noticed something within the last hour. Left side of the screen right here is the fake trade war. All the way down to 400 on the Qs, we were buying hand over fist for our retirement. And if you're new to this channel, I believe you should index half to 2/3 of your portfolio. Most people won't do that. They go all in on penny stocks. The minute we start getting significant drawdowns like we are this morning and this afternoon, they panic. They jump from one fire into another. They blame me, of course, and go throw me under the bus over on Clowntown or places like Reddit and Twitter, instead of listening to what I've fucking said since day one. Half to 2/3 should be in SPY, QQQ, IWM. And you only buy the annual drawdown or bear market of greater than 10%. So as we go back to the charts, we were buying right side of the screen now, all the way down to 555 the last week of March, as well as last year, all the way down to 400 on the QQQ NASDAQ 100. Those folks are set for life. But you know what I noticed? If you go from the April 7th low up through the 50, which is the red line, the blue is the 200-day, you get to right here on day 48. You know what this is? Upper right-hand corner of the screen from the March 30 low? Day 48. It's the exact same chart with only slight variations as we go back. Left side of the screen, April 7th. This is day 48, that green candle. Right here, you came up and through the red and the blue, you pulled back. Right side of the screen. Settle down, Jason. You came up and through blue and red, so this is actually a stronger technical setup because the red line, the 50-day, is above the 200-day. This is day 48. You pulled back. Days 45, 46, 47, 48. The same fucking thing happened right here. And for those of you that have watched The Price is Right for the last 50 plus years, what happened on the 48th day? Again, same as today, this morning, on the pullback to $6.99 last April and May. If you know, you know. You went up another 6 fucking months from day 48. Am I saying we're going up 6 months without ever looking back like we did last year on a very similar setup? No, I'm not. We've got $100 plus barrel oil. We got the 10-year at 460. We got problems like we didn't have in the credit market now. But I am saying, as we go back to the chart as of this morning, this gap, and I'm now in the upper right-hand corner, right here, all the way down to, let's call it 680, is going to get filled at some point in the next month or two. I don't think it's going to happen right away, because in case you haven't heard the news, NVIDIA reports after the bell on Wednesday. It's very possible, as was the case last year during the fake trade war, that after you pull back on day 48, you're right back off and running. So am I saying it's possible that we could challenge or even take out 722 if NVIDIA beats and raises? That's exactly what I'm telling you. Now, that's probably not going to happen because of the things that I've already mentioned, and you've already seen in the case of Micron as one example, significant breakdowns. It got up to not once, but twice, 8.25 going back to the charts. Look at that. You know, I told some assholes, and you know who you are, to get the fuck out of Dodge way up here in the pre-market, not once, but twice at 8.25. And you haven't even had, this is Micron on the daily, you haven't even had lower right-hand corner, the bearish crossover on the daily MACD. You're barely down below the 80 line, aka overbought on the Stows. In other words, Micron's going a lot lower than where it is right now at 670, but it may bounce 710 to a quarter in a few days. And then reality's going to sink in as we go back to that chart, that it's way, way overbought. And as I've shown you a time or two on the monthly chart, I mean, look at that. Let's see if the line is turning down. Not quite yet, but where's support on Micron? Way the fuck down here at, let's call it 420 for all those of you that like to toke on the old peace pipe. In other words, Houston, Micron has a fucking problem. This is not the same as last year, but it's eerily similar that after 48 days off the fake trade war low, we ran for another 6 months. And while it is a little different right now, what happens if Trump solves the war? What happens if interest rates come back down? What happens if NVIDIA not only beats, but blows it out of the water, and we are on and up and running again in respect to the chip stocks? Then we're probably going to run another few weeks to a month, maybe two. But once we get into the meat of June, as I've said many times, you have the SpaceX IPO, June the 12th. You then have two more IPOs, OpenAI, which won their case against Elon. More on that in a second. And then Anthropic. That's $2 trillion the hedge funds have got to sell in order to pay. Where's it coming out of? Micron and the chip stocks. So without further ado, again, it's $20 to get started. Your first 2 months, that ends May the 31st. Let me take you back inside the Discord. As you'll see in the last hour or two, I'm all the way in. In other words, I put my cash in. I'm going to show you what I'm doing with that cash in a second. If you join this Discord by May 31st for just $20, cancel anytime, you will see a brand new private welcome video, because the one that I shared last week was a total fucking disaster. It didn't go anywhere because the algorithm hated it, and it was 34 minutes long. So I yanked it. And shout out to my haters, rather than hide under the desk, because I do have a stock or two that's way down from where it was a week ago. I'm back to share with you not only what's going on inside the Discord, but exactly what I'm buying and where. I will go over each and every one of these in a second. BURU. Yeah, the CEO's a fucking clown. Yeah, they've diluted like crazy. But the current limit, and it did not hit it all day long, is 18 cents. My average, as you'll see in a second, is 19 on the nose. CXAI reported about a week ago they tried to smack it down. Avondale, an institution, owns about 60 million shares in and around 16 cents. Our average is actually 13.85 on CXAI. Many of you are intimately familiar with DVLT. The current limit as of today, which again is May the 18th, is 47 cents. And yes, this is fluid. It may go up or down by the time you watch this video. As you'll see in the new trades channel in the second, I was buying this fucking stock hand over fist all the way down to that level this morning. GCTK is getting blasted. I will also show you that in a second. It's now a hold. At one point today, it was down more than 25%. I put it to a hold when it broke 50 cents. My average, along with most of the team, is in the mid to high 50s. NACA is a Bitcoin treasury play. They knocked it down this morning to 1670. I bought it not once, but twice. I have a huge amount of this stock at 17.5, and I am of the opinion that Bitcoin has a very good chance to hold its 50-day moving average, which is 75.5 currently, but again, any of that can change. ORBS has a massive $100 million plus position in OpenAI, who just won the lawsuit against Elon Musk. They've also got an investment in Mr. Beast and his Beast Industries of YouTube fame. This is a play on the WorldCoin, WLD. Crypto's been getting smacked. They knocked the stock all the way down to an all-time low this morning at 74. My average, 76 and very small change on ORBS. So as I've often said, if anyone's going to make money, it's going to be us. And last but not least, caution means price action is weak on VSEE. The current limit is 15. It was trading at 15.5 when I last bought some. My average is 17. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before I take you back inside of the Discord, I have only done this once before in the last 3 years. I am titling this video 7 penny stocks to buy, and I realize it's going to have a lot of other information, including the charts I showed you in the beginning, because it's algorithm friendly. I'll be floored if we don't get a few dozen of you by the end of the month to take advantage of $20 to get started, cancel anytime. If you're going to sit and wait and see if these stocks work out, okay, fair enough. Guess what you're going to pay come June 1st? $250. Not our current members. New members are going to pay $250 to get in the fucking door. So if you want to dick around and not take advantage of it while you watch these work out, be my fucking guest. These are my averages. This is called the Core Holdings channel, as I just shared. Self-explanatory in terms of where I own them. I'm not buying any in GCTK. I own it at 5555 to be exact. We round up or down 0.5 cent in terms of our limits. And I'm currently out of cash. If I had some, you'd see it right below VSEE. So with that said, and just quickly, as you can see, I was buying ORBS at 747, 75, 751. I loaded up all the way down to 50 cents on GCTK more than a dozen times. As I go up, let's see, VSE, you can see I was buying at 16. NACA, there's 2 buys at 167 and 166. And then there's some DVLT. DVLT I bought at 47.5. Another 47.4, 47.4. My average is 48 and small change on DVLT. All right. Again, this is probably going to be a 20-minute video. If you would help me out, subscribe, hit the bell if you're new, and share it all over the place. Hype it if you've been following me for a while. This is an unusual situation. We're normally right 95% of the time. So of those 6 stocks, because we're not buying GCTK until it bounces at least 10%, then I'll move it from a blue, which is a hold, to a yellow, which is caution, okay to buy. Just don't go over 15% of your trading capital per idea. It's very unusual for me to do this. If you respect the work and the effort that I'm trying to share with you, not only are you going to join, but you're going to share it all over the place. All right, with that said, as I go back to the charts, one at a time. Let's go to the 5-minute charts. This stock, BURU, again, limits 18. You pay no more than 18 and a half. My average is 19.15 to be exact. So as you're watching this video for the first time, 1876, you're not buying it until it hits 18 and a half. If you miss it, you miss it. This is a play on war starting up once again. If you were to ask me, are we going to be bombing the remaining 20% of the targets in Iran? Are we going to do something with respect to the dust that has to be gathered one way or another? The odds are better than 50%. The answer is yes. This stock, in the midst of the war a few weeks ago, got cranking and ran from 17 cents all the way up to mid to high 30s. So we're buying it after a almost 75% Fibonacci retracement. 18 limit, pay no more than 18 and a half on a play on the war getting back started. On BURU, CXAI, again, holding up relatively strong. Most penny stocks, particularly under a quarter, are getting blasted. And when I go out to the 12-month chart, I mean, what's not to like in terms of those that like to fish as I do at or near new lows? And if you've seen what's happened in the last, let's call it, here's an example right here. Look at this stock. This was Friday, all-time low in Sunshine Biopharma. 28 cents you could have bought it. This morning, it was dancing at 235. Nobody wanted it down here near a quarter. You could have blown it out for almost 10x. Now, it's coming back down to earth, but even so, it's still double after all this selling in the last 4 or 5 hours. So don't fucking tell me that you can't make money buying stocks at or near new lows. It's what I do. When you buy a stock that's already down 95%, like CXAI, or even BURU for that matter, all-time low around 17, you've been somewhat de-risked. Can it still go lower on dilution in a reverse split? Absolutely. But you got bags in both of those cases way up. Many, many hundreds and even thousands of percentage points. Those folks are not going to make any money. But we have done almost 500 times buying stocks like Open. I gave it to you on this channel at near 50 cents. I sold it way too fucking early and had to watch it go all the way to $11. That has happened almost 500 times where we're buying stocks at or near new lows, and then we're trying to get 30% on average in a time frame of about a month and a half or two. So we're not scalping, we're not day trading, we're building positions slowly. We buy a third, we add 2/3 or add small on weakness, usually over a period of a few weeks, and then we wait a month or two. And if you're right 122 times and only wrong 5 in the last 10 months, as I have been for over 800%, let's see. Are you going to make a lot more money than you ever pay me? Yeah, a ton. And if you wait to June 1st, it's going to be over $200 to get in the door, not 20 as it is right now. All right, going back to DVLT. Many of you have traded this several times in the last month or two, actually year. Left side of the screen, I did a video. You can go check it out. Buy DVLT at 38. I got out way too early, had to watch it go up another 8x. Well, we recently got back in the high 40s, sold the pump. If you were around late last week, it was actually in the pre-market at 69 and change. We got out the night before at 62, made over 30%. I bought the stock back, and you can go into the new trades channel that I just showed you. At 48.9, I sold it 5 minutes later, half of it, for a 16% profit on Friday. And then I bought it all back again this morning. I've done that fucking hundreds of times, thousands in my career. If you're going to give me 15 to 20% on a third of a position I just bought, I'll let it go. If it keeps on trucking, fine. But in this case, I got a chance to buy it back again. So DVLT, pay attention to the limit that I just showed you. It's currently 47. So at 484, which is above where we own it, I'm not a buyer. Institutions own a ton, slightly higher. Yeah, there's been almost 1 billion shares of fucking dilution. The CEO is also a bit of a overpromise and underdeliver kind of guy. But if you know anything about the potential of this company, it could easily wake up one morning As it done here, as it's done here, as it's done here repeatedly. And you're looking at 70 cents, if not higher, on DVLT. And if that's the case, you bet your ass we'll take it. Quickly trying to wrap this up. NACA, as I explained earlier, is a Bitcoin treasury play. It's a penny off an all-time low. They unfortunately bought everything they have at 118,000 on Bitcoin. But up until this morning, excuse me, it had shown excellent relative strength. We're basically even money as we speak on a boatload of stock in NACA. ORBS, OpenAI, just one as I go to the 5-minute chart. It had a modest effect. This was down at an all-time low, which is the current limit. Don't pay more than 74.5. So yeah, I'm not condoning buys at 76, even though that's near my current average. You got to wait until it comes back down. Now, I will adjust averages higher if it makes sense. But right now, I'm not condoning anything over 74.5 on ORBS, which again is a beneficiary of Elon Musk losing the case to OpenAI. And then last but certainly not least, as I showed you inside of, this is a stock that I've owned far too long, several months. We sold half or close to it at 26.5. This is VSE. This over here, left side of the screen, was last fall. The stock was trading at the time around 40 cents. It was a fucking six-bagger. And ever since, it's spent all this time, look at that daily MACD, under the zero line since Thanksgiving. That's almost impossible in most cases on a company, by the way, that had revenue year over year in their last report up 41%. But they got a convertible going on. It's diluted the stock down on very light volume. If I get another pump over 20 cents a share on VSEE, yeah, I'm going to pull the ripcord. And in closing, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably 10 minutes longer than most of you are willing to watch. But I am going to help 250 people get rich in the next 9 years. 2035 is the end date based on demographics and an AI bubble that should pop by then. It's not going to pop now. Yeah, semis are coming back down to earth. I told you Micron was a fucking sell at 8.25. Last trade near the 670 mark and going lower, but not before a bounce, most likely after NVIDIA reports on Monday. Whatever you pay me. Currently, it's $4.60 a day for an annual Discord. You'll make a bloody fortune. I can't get my arms around in closing, thank God, right? This will be my only video of the week. Expect the bounces I just said in NVIDIA Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 70% of our annual renewals in this month did not come in. Fuck you, Jason. I'm not paying. And in most cases, not only am I not paying, I'm not going to tell you why I'm not paying. I'm just going to ghost you when you send me a bill and a reminder to pay. In my wildest dreams, did I ever think 122.5 since last August for over 800% would lead to 50, 60, 70% of my renewals, our biggest month, saying, fuck you? Impossible. And yet here we are. I have no secrets. I don't give a shit what you think of me, what you say of me, or whether or not you actually pull the trigger in your last chance for $20. I know I'm one of the best traders in the fucking world. I still pee on the toilet seat. I can't change fucking oil or a tire to save my life. But if you said to me, I need you to make me some fucking money, I need to see you, Jason, turn me into a millionaire like you've done for yourself. 3 years ago, I had nothing. Far less than 100 grand to my name. I was gasping for air like most of you coming out of the scamdemic of 2020. And yet here we are, 95% win rate for more than 2,100% return in the last 10 months, more than 8x on your fucking money. And yeah, you've got till May 31st to join us. $20, cancel any fucking time at trysmallbiz.com.